Hey guys, my name is Spencer, and in 2025 I went to France with the main goal of meeting some World War II veterans, shaking their hands, and saying thank you. And this turned out to be quite the adventure indeed, so let's get to it.
Okay, getting out of the room, checking out. My bad. Thank you very much. Okay, have a good day, guys. Bonne chance. Okay, that's that. I am dehydrated. I just realized my mic was turned up quite loud. I just thought I'd check. It seems like there's a dial on the back, so the audio can get turned up fairly easily. So anyway, checking out of the hotel here. Gonna find a way to get where I'm going. Use the Google Maps because it's just like it's farmland. I think it's just like farmland around here. So I'm gonna hopefully find a way to get where I'm supposed to go. I gotta head into Bayeux, is I think how you pronounce it. That's the town that's near all the beaches. So I'm gonna head that way. Probably stop there, go to the grocery store, something like that, pick up some stuff, and hopefully get some water along the way. I'm pretty parched. I was like drinking water from the shower faucet this morning, or not this morning, earlier today. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, we're gonna get on the way here. So that's good. They got some thin roads in France. Here we are. Yeah, rather thin sidewalks. But it is what it is. On my way to the bus stop. These wheels don't do so well on gravel like this. Look at that house. It's this old looking house. Everything looks kind of old but cool. There's a church over there. There's like a farm. The other day when I was eating supper, I saw cows in the field across the road, and it's like, what is this place? And it's just like, what is this road? Like, where does that go? That looks cool. I look like such a tourist doing this right now. I look like such a tourist. Look at that. You're just walking along the road, and you see some horses. Just chilling. Just chilling. This is a different kind of life out here. Okay, so we got the church right here, and then you got some little strip mall, coffee shop, and then pizzeria. All just kind of in this little spot here. So just kind of a nice little nook. All right, now we talking. No. It is fermé. I got some like weird shaped houses here. So like, obviously that's probably big enough to live in reasonably comfortably, but you just typically don't see houses that narrow. Lady hitting a bath mat outside on the deck. It really is like a little movie here. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the post office. And then on the side it's toilets. So, that's the post office? I guess you don't need a very big post office for a small town like this. You got the flag up there. A lot of vine growth. And one of these stone wheels. You definitely get the vibe that like everything is old, or at least most of the things are old here in terms of the skeletal architecture. But this Porsche pulling in here is definitely not old. And that was kind of funny. As I was going over to the pharmacy, literally as I was about to go through the door, she starts closing the gate, like the shutters. And I was like, oh dude, either they don't like tourists or it's just a bad time. Like, look at how skinny the sidewalk gets. Across the street just to go down a wider sidewalk. A bunch of stuff seems to close early here, at least some of it anyway. What's kind of interesting about these buildings is it might look like the upper levels might appear like something you'd see at like Disneyland or Disney World or some sort of theme park, where you're used to the upper floors just being for show. Like, at least I think that's what they are. I'm gonna assume that they usually don't have any actual purpose beyond aesthetic. Like I assume that people don't use the space up where those top windows are on buildings. So like, for example, you have you have like those upper windows up there, which normally would probably look like something just for show. But like, this is France. This is France. So there's it was probably built with use and purpose and intention to be used just as another part of the house. So it's just kind of cool. Like, for example, like you see over there, there's like this little potted plant, or well, it's like a little green plant inside of a bucket, and it's just there, right? It's just there, you know? And so it's just like somebody put that out there, right? That would be the assumption. So it's just cute. But even in France, there's still SpongeBob. Can you see that in there? And look at this little car. This tiny little car. Look at those little windows. Ain't those interesting little windows? Here's where I was yesterday. One, two. Groovy seats. train ticket, and one of the machines stopped working on me, so by the time I managed to actually get to purchasing the ticket, I missed the closest train, but the next one's only like 15 minutes from now, roughly, a little bit more. I'm gonna hop that train over to Bayeux, and that's it. Okay, I'm on the right train, I think. I hope. Time to down the orange juice. First proper drink I've had today.
Welcome on board. To travel on this train, you must have a valid ticket. We wish you a pleasant journey.
Willkommen an Bord dieses Zuges. Zu reisen, müssen Sie einen gültigen Bahnticket besitzen. Wir wünschen Ihnen eine angenehme Reise.
Mesdames, Messieurs, bonjour.
Just making sure I didn't leave anything. Looks good, looks good. Okay, I think we're good. So we are in Bayeux. Bayeux? Something like that. So I'm gonna find my way around, I guess. All right, let's go. Okay, that's it. Fortunately, they got these little elevators, so I don't have to lug my bag up the stairs and then down the stairs. So that's good. Appreciate it. Considering at the other train station, I lugged it down the stairs just to take the escalator up the stairs later to the roughly, yeah, pretty much the same spot. So anyway. And I believe that over there is one of the... Is there more than one? Notre Dame Cathedral. But is there just one, or is there more than one? Anyway. One thing that is nice so far is that they have real sidewalks. So they're wide. I mean, they're not quite smooth, but they're wide, and so that's a plus. So that's good. So I'm just like walking to a superstore, grocery store, something or other store, and then from then on, I'm gonna probably head to my hotel and check in. Oh, this sidewalk's smoother. When it comes to areas like these, it's like, do you think they fought here after they stormed the beaches? Like, couldn't you see this out of like a World War II set, maybe? I guess this is just kind of a typical thing in France. You'll have like civilization, right? And then like, you know, highway and stuff. And then just some donkeys doing their thing. All right, let's see them stars and stripes. And then the France flag over there. So I don't think I'm going to go over there and look any closer right now, because I'd have to cross over this, and I don't really want to do that with this. But anyway, so you got the Speedy whatever the heck for cars right across from the old-timey looking farmhouse place with the moss on the roof, or whatever that is. This is really a unique kind of place, I guess. Or is this just normal for France? But if by Canadian standards, it's kind of unique. So this is kind of unique. It's a double roundabout that one feeds into the other. So you got this one right here, but then you could go around it and into this one over here. I've never seen anything like that, I think, ever. Okay, so I finally made it to the superstore, I believe, or whatever the Intermarché Super. And as you can see, I think that the 80 is in reference, so I think this is the 80th anniversary of Victory in Europe Day. And then you got all the other flags there. There's the Canadian one. Will they give a discount to Canadians? It's always good to be greeted by a cow. Alright, just gonna grab one or two things at least. Okay, got a few things from the store. Now I'm gonna head to the hotel. Okay, so something I learned about French bottle caps, right? So initially at the other hotel when I got a Coke bottle, probably in a different clip that I recorded earlier on in the trip, I thought that this just like snagged on the lid here, and so then I ripped it off. But I now realize that that's actually part of the engineering, that you have it so that you can open it. It's hard to do things one-handed. You could open it and it would stay on the bottle, but it would stay like hooked in like that. So you don't have to like hold the cap with your other hand, and it just stays there. And then you could like flip it over and then screw it on, right, and go about your business. But just before filming this now, I leaned forward to put stuff on the ground, and the cap was still open, and so I just like dumped a good amount of the juice or whatever it is on the ground. So that's great, and it kind of splattered a bit on my camera, but that's okay. Anyway, I gotta get to the hotel now, check in and stuff, and hopefully then I'll be able to stop lugging around all of this. But anyway.
You tell me if you want to have a stop to take picture.
The drive is scenic enough. Looks good.
Okay.
C'est bien. C'est bon, monsieur. Merci, merci.
Avec plaisir.
Merci, merci. Bonne journée.
Bonne journée, au revoir.
Au revoir. All right, we're doing a little debrief right now. Okay, so hopefully all this is coming through good on the audio and stuff. But essentially, I haven't transferred this footage to my laptop yet. I'm going to do that probably after this, just because you want to try to hopefully keep relatively organized so you don't have to sort all the stuff out as much later. There might still be some of that, but anyway. Okay, so we are at Gold Beach Hotel Place. So it's been a bit of a journey already, just getting here, right? And we're only like, what is this, 3 days in technically? Like, what was it? Flew out on the 30th, which is the Saturday, I think. And now it is Monday night, I think. Is it June 1st or June 2nd? I think it's June 1st. Are we Monday? Is this on? Oh, it's not on. Okay, so anyway. Long story short. So, to summarize, I flew into Paris, right? I stayed there at the airport hotel for a night. During that day, I just kind of stayed awake. I didn't sleep on the plane. And then I stayed awake and I did some walking around and stuff, went to a nearby mall, got something to eat, got a milkshake, walking around, Anyway, get back to the hotel. I go to bed probably around 6 p.m.-ish, somewhere around there. I sleep for like 10 or 12 hours. It was like, I woke up and didn't go back to sleep, I don't think. Roughly around 5 a.m., maybe a little bit after. It was somewhere in that ballpark. I think I could be a little bit off, but between the 5 and 6 a.m. number, somewhere around there probably. I leave the hotel later in the day, and they actually had a pretty nice little breakfast buffet area. But anyway, I go from there to leave, and I go to, where'd I go from there? My brain's a little, I go from the airport hotel to then take a bus that brings me to a place it brings me to the airport area. So I actually walked through the area that I walked through the other day, but then I found out that wasn't the area where I was supposed to be. That I was supposed to just go back out to the bus area where I got dropped off and just go and get on what I believe is a charter bus. So I went from using normal bus transit to using, I think it's Flixbus. It's that green one. Quite a nice charter bus, actually. Like, if you are in France and you want to go and travel from the city out to the country, it's quite nice. It's air conditioned. They got Wi-Fi on board. Apparently they have charger ports. I didn't find any, but apparently they exist.
I don't know if it has a bathroom on board. I think it might, but don't count on that. Look into that yourself if you're curious. And it was like, it's like €50, 50 something, like €54 to go from Paris to Deauville area, I think. Or no, Le Havre, which is a bit north, I think, of Deauville. And then took another bus from there that took me down to the Deauville airport where I was going to try to meet the veterans. So anyway, it was like a 3.5 hour or 4 hour bus ride from Paris to Le Havre. Pretty solid way to travel, unless you want to take the train. I thought about just like foregoing the bus ticket I already bought and just taking the train, but it's like, I got prayed about it, and just because I wanted to get the train experience, but I'll probably catch the train on my way back. But anyway, because a lot of this is just like, I think when I'm traveling, at least with a trip like this, I think it might just kind of, how should I say this? It's kind of like God's in control. Like God's always in control, but when I'm traveling like this, it just kind of feels like, maybe it feels like God's really in control. Like, I mean, he's always at the same level of control in our lives all the time. Like, you know what I mean? But there's something, maybe it's a better way to say it, because God's always equally in control at all times. But maybe a better way to say it is I'm more reliant on God. That might be a better way to say it. More reliant on God, and hopefully I'm more reliant on God's leading when traveling. Especially like when you're like overseas alone. This is my first time overseas. I'm going alone. And so you're kind of just like, it's like, okay, God, what do you want to do? You know, that might kind of be the vibe sometimes, right? So essentially, or I prayed about it, and then I think something that came to mind is like, well, you know, trying to make the most of, like, you already spent the money on the ticket, Spencer, you know, so it's like, there's that factor, and just kind of going with like the leading, I guess, or I don't know if I was super conscious about the leading at the time or not, but anyway, long story short, I get on the bus, and I had the seat that was right up at the front of the bus where I could see out the window, like nobody was sitting in front of me. So you got the front window, like the side window. So it made for a great viewing experience throughout that bus ride. And it was like, it was a pretty solid bus ride, you know, got to see quite a lot of scenery. There's so much green. That's another thing. France, like once you get out of like the city, it's like there's so much green everywhere. And even in some places like that just are not like, you know, downtown Paris, but just more like outskirts. Like it's not necessarily like out in the farmland, but it's just, it seems like there's just a lot of green. But even in like some of the smaller towns and stuff, it's just, there's so much foliage and leaves, and it's like really, some of the trees is just really big, and it's kind of like encroaching, or not really encroaching, but it's like bordering on the road. So it's almost kind of like it's ready to, like, what's the best way to describe it? It's like they probably gotta trim it back, because otherwise it's just gonna kind of grow too much into the sidewalk and road space. And another thing, I'm kind of wondering in some cases if there's a big kind of communal aspect to the greenskeeping, like, because the communal aspect in the sense of when you're in these smaller towns where there's like probably not a whole lot of people, like, does the city of France, or not the city, the country of France, do they have like districts where they have like their public works people go and trim all these hedges on the sidewalks? But it's like, I saw this one lady that just was, I don't know if she was trimming the hedge that was on the sidewalk near where she lived. I don't know about that, but she was just trimming this hedge. And so then, and she didn't look like somebody in uniform or anything. So it's like, is that how it works out here? Do people just kind of do their part to, you know, trim the foliage in their own community areas to prevent it from growing onto the road or whatever? If that's the case, then that's really nice. I don't know if that's how it works, but, you know, in the smaller communities, possibly. So when I went to Deauville, I wanted to try to see if I could catch the veterans there, like even just like catch them coming off the plane or whatever, if that was an option. But once I got there, I think because I saw like the setup or whatever, I saw that there was like this kind of behind this wall of glass, there was, I think, like a buffet table and stuff like that. And there was people in there. There's some people that I think looked like they were in some sort of uniform, because you saw like the olive drab colored clothes on at least a few people. And then there was also, I think, French police outside, and they were like armed, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think they're just trying to like keep everything good, you know? And I think there was some U.S. Army people there as well. I actually met a U.S. Army videographer, which, like, I didn't know that was a thing, like, in terms of that being the official role. But as far as I understand, that's what she did. And then I met somebody else, or that's what she does, rather, because it's probably ongoing, right? And then I also met somebody that I assume was with the Best Defense Foundation. I could be wrong on that, but she kind of presented herself and sounded like she was kind of a part of it. Whether she's a staff member or volunteer or not, I don't know. But I was talking with her as well. And so long story short, I couldn't get in. This is before I met these people. I couldn't get in to meet I couldn't get in to meet the veterans. I couldn't go into the area or whatever, because apparently that's by invitation only, and I didn't have an invitation. So I went to this place to basically get denied. And so, like, I tried, because it's one of those things where, like, I was just kind of, for the most part, going in blind, or mostly blind, because I only had like a little bit of detail. It was just like, this is happening. And based on what ChatGPT was saying, whatever I read made me think, like, you know, maybe I could catch them coming off the plane or coming outside or whatever. And but long story short, it didn't happen quite in the way that I think I imagined it. But I got there, got denied, left, was waiting outside, met the videographer and that other lady, and that other lady that might be with, so yeah, met the videographer and that other lady that might have been with the foundation or whatever. And then as I'm waiting, again, this was kind of like a God moment, where it's like, whatever it was that I prayed or was talking to God about, where it's like, you know, what do you think, Lord, or something like that. Like, it's just kind of like, you know, you're asking and maybe waiting to see, you know, I don't know, you're just kind of working through the situation. And so I, you know, looking for like a bus to get to my hotel nearby, and it's like a 28-minute walk or whatever, but like I'm carrying like all my stuff, like my suitcases and stuff, and I don't want to roll my giant luggage suitcase down these little narrow roads when there's cars flying by. I don't want to get hit by some car while I'm walking 28 minutes to get to where I'm going. So anyway, the next bus is like an hour and a half wait or something like that. And then I open up Uber, and I'm like trying to order a ride, right? And it's searching for like, I don't know, like, let's say 10, 20 plus minutes. And then eventually it finds a driver, because this is like a little area that's maybe kind of off the beaten path. It doesn't seem like there was a lot of Uber drivers in the area, but anyway, it finds one. And so I'm waiting. It's like an 18-minute wait. I don't know if it was that long, or maybe if it was longer or something. So I'm waiting. While I'm waiting for my Uber, they got the veterans in their, you know, travel charter buses or whatever, and they had all these other Army vehicles and stuff, and motorbikes and stuff. There's at least one motorbike, and it's all like Army themed stuff, so it's like the old Army style vehicles. And they just are leaving the airport, and they drive right by where I'm at. And so I get to film them leaving and get to wave and salute and stuff like that. And so it's like, if I didn't have to wait so long, I would have possibly missed out on that, on getting to see their little caravan parade thing, whatever you want to call it, leave the airport. So that was cool. So at least I got something out of going there, which is good. And so then I go to a nearby hotel, which is a pretty nice place, like quite nice, especially scenery-wise. It's like this place. At one point, it might have seemed at least a little bit similar to like a place that Picard would be at on like Star Trek Next Generation. Not exactly like that, but maybe to some degree, maybe a little bit reminiscent, because his vineyard, or the place where he was at, was in France, wasn't it? And so this kind of had some interesting kind of country like that kind of vibes to it. Like, this is different than U.S. country. This is more like, is different. It's like, you know, European country maybe, but not music countryside. Anyway, so quite the quaint, interesting little place. It's like as if you had like those village town museum walkthrough places. It's like if that was a hotel, you know. It was unique. So anyway, I had 2 pools. I didn't get to go in either one of them because by the time all was said and done, and I was on the phone and stuff like that, when I went to go and check, you know, if the pool inside was accessible, the door was locked. So it was like, because I think it was past 10 o'clock or whatever. So it is what it is. Hopefully I'll get to a pool at some point throughout this trip. But anyway, we'll see if I jump in the ocean tomorrow. But anyway, all that said, so it would have been earlier today. So I guess in my head I was thinking, it'll take like, you know, several hours to travel from, you know, Deauville area to Bayeux area, which is like near where I'm at now. I'm just a bit out of the town of Bayeux, near the beach, right near Gold Beach. So I thought it might have just taken however long I thought it would have taken, which was probably not long. It ended up taking it was like a good portion of the day just traveling and getting around to here, because I went from Deauville to Caen. It's pronounced Caen, I think. I thought it was Cane, but I guess it's Caen, something like that. I think they say, this is similar to how they say, there's another French word that sounds similar. But anyway, maybe it sounds the same or similar. Anyway, so I go from Caen, catch the train to Bayeux, and that's a pretty quick train. It's probably like 20 minutes, maybe a little more, maybe somewhere around there. Like, it is pretty fast compared to all my bus rides. But the bus rides is good. If you want to have like a scenic travel adventure through the French countryside, take the bus. It's cheap, and it's like, you see a lot. Like when you go through all the little towns and stuff, seeing all this different architecture and stuff, it's like there's so much stuff that's so nice, and there's so much stuff that's so old, and it's like old and nice, but some of it's kind of weird. Like the architecture proportions is weird. Like some of the houses that you see or buildings or whatever just might seem a bit narrow and weird shape compared to what you're used to in North America. And it's probably just because like it's just so old. When it's built, it's just what it is, right? And so some of them, it might seem kind of like cramped. Another thing is France seems to like their small doors. Like more often than not, it seems like there's just small doors. So anyway, that's another thing. Narrow doorways. But moving on. So beyond that, the train to Bayeux, when I'm in Bayeux, I get off at the train station, and there's, what is it? I want to go to the grocery store or whatever before going to my hotel, right? Gonna pick up at least one thing. Ended up getting, you know, like a few things it depends. Like, do you define multiples of the same thing as more than one thing? Anyway, moving on. I got like a few different items. And so then I go from, what was it? And I had a different place initially selected for grocery store, but then I went to one that was closer, because initially my plan, I think, or the Google Maps directions was to take a bus to this other place. But it's like, by the time I got there and then I like cleared the directions and looked up directions again, the bus directions just seemed a little bit weird, like compared to what it showed before. So I was just not going to risk it or whatever. And so I just looked for a different grocery store. Found one that was like kind of more reasonable walking distance. And so then I just walked there. And so I probably I'm hauling this bag, and like all the bags that were being rolled, because there was the suitcase and the bag on top of the suitcase, and then another like pouch bag with camera gear and stuff on top of that. Then my backpack on my back holding my camera. And so it's probably like I'm probably pulling just on the wheelie bag like 60 pounds or whatever, plus the other weight on my person. And so you're pulling this, and the bag's got these little wheels, and then at one point one of the wheels like kind of locks or stops rolling, so then it starts grinding the plastic, like when it starts to shave away at the plastic when the wheel gets stuck. I found out that it got stuck, or at least stuck for a period of time. I think it started rolling again later, but what made it get stuck, as far as I understand, is there was a nail that was caught in the wheel. I have the nail on the table over there. Like, 'cause there's this, like, metal thing sticking out from, like, where the thing that holds the wheel connects to the bag. It was, like, wedged in there. So I had to, like, maneuver it to, like, I had to move the wheel around and pull on the nail, like all this maneuvering to get the nail out. And so, yeah, now that wheel's grinded down a little bit on one side. But anyway, it is what it is, I guess. Because I guess at the time I thought that maybe he just locked up for... I guess I thought at the time it just locked up for some reason. But, like for a reason other than that, I didn't realize it was that. So anyway, moving right along. So, once I get to Bayeux and I go to the grocery store, I look up, after I'm done at the grocery store, I look up the Google Maps bus directions to get to my hotel. There's so much of a delay on I don't know how many buses go here. It might have just been one bus route. I would have had to wait, like, somewhere over an hour. Like, I don't know if it was an hour and 40 minutes or whatever, but it was at least more than an hour wait, however long it was, just to get over here. And so I looked up on Uber, because with Uber, with this area, I was thinking it was probably a hard sell, like unlikely, but it was easier than in Deauville at the airport there, so that's good. So anyway, I got an Uber driver. It was a BMW 3 Series or something, which as far as I understand is a nice car. So it's like, why are you driving Uber with a car so nice? If you could afford this car, why are you driving Uber? Maybe driving Uber to help pay off the car, who knows? But anyway, I got my Uber drive out to this area, and it's like, if the countryside wasn't already nice, this might have just been a little extra icing on the cake, because the Normandy coast countryside, it's like the other countryside is good, but like, I don't know. I'm hesitant to say that the Normandy coast countryside is better. I'm hesitant to say that just because, like, they're both good, and there's, I think, moments with both of them that might be kind of like, wow, you know. But I think with this is because, you know, that the history probably happened, like, right here, or more likely. Like, it's not necessarily that they fought on every single square foot of this area, but, like, at different times, as I was going through certain places, I think I was thinking to myself, like, oh, you know, did they fight here? Or I was kind of like imagining, you know, military flashbacks. Like if you were watching a movie where a guy's walking through a modern day version of a town, and then it flashbacks to, at certain locations, to what it was like there when they were in the war or whatever. I was kind of like imagining some stuff like that, where it was like, you know, like you see something that maybe looks like holes in a wall, and you're like, oh, you know, are those bullet holes, you know, like stuff like that, right? And you're imagining like these scenes maybe that could have played out or whatever. Maybe you see like a certain road between two buildings, and it's like, oh, that looks like it could be out of a war movie, or a, you know, a Call of Duty map from one of the World War II games, like whatever. Like, you know, your mind imagines maybe scenarios or things or stuff looks like what's depicted, so it's like, oh, that looks like that, you know, all this stuff, right? But it's like when it comes to the countryside here in the coast area, it's like they probably did fight in that field or whatever, you know? So like when you go at it with that perspective, it maybe gives the area a bit more significance in your mind, right? So it's a place. And I was I went to a local place over there, and I got some pizza and some drink, you know. Tomorrow, going to, I think, try to attend an event. I think it's in Caen. I could be wrong. But I'm going to just kind of see what's going on. Yeah. So I'm going to see what happens. Beyond that, is there anything I I haven't been to a French bakery yet. But I finally got some French pizza, because when I tried to go to a pizzeria earlier today, and it was closed. So at least now I got some French pizza. It's pretty good stuff. It's more like kind of maybe gourmet vibes. I think it's something similar to what I had in Burlington years ago. I could be wrong about that, but it's good. So anyway. And Normandy seems to, as far as I've heard, Normandy is known for its cider. I don't know if it's that it's known for it, or that cider, I think, is more popular here compared to wine. But I could be wrong about that too. But I'm going partly based off of what I got from somebody I was talking to today, and then also partly, or maybe mostly, from what I heard from a YouTube video about a guy talking about Normandy. Anyway, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go to bed soon. Anyway, so tomorrow's another day. Hopefully catch a good event, and eventually hopefully meet some veterans. Because, yeah, I am here overseas for the first time in France alone. One of my main goals, probably the main goal, the only reason that I probably actually chose to go through with coming here, is because I want to try to meet the veterans, ideally as many veterans as possible, before they die, right? Because they're probably around 100 plus years old. At that stage, just being alive is like an achievement, right? So I am going to try to meet them, shake some hands, say some thank yous. And so that's the main goal. We will see if that happens tomorrow. Aki.